Hello. Wanted to go over a few of the cases that are at the U.S. District Court of Ohio Southern District of Eastern Division that everyone in the public should have the awareness of because there is a strong effort to ensure that you don't. Okay. And the underlying fundamental key factor in each one of the cases, except for one, which is Kids Planet, Park versus Kids Planet, is that it's fraud and RICO crime schemes, organized crime, public corruption. And the groups of individuals participating in these patterns of practice, corruptive misbehaving, are state actors, judges, judge magistrates, but seemingly some do not have oath of office even. And they're outside of their own statutory requirements relative to that. And other court employees like clerk courts and court administrators and administrative staff and so on and so forth. There's civil filing interference going on. There's just a lot of U.S. constitutional right at all of them, deprivations, but primarily what is at issue is just violation of due process, okay? Procedural and substantive, which lie in the fundamental bill of rights, okay? And yeah, it's outrageous, it's actually egregious and atrocious. Right? Any reasonable minded individual that would have the material facts outlined and laid out before them would be able to clearly see. Okay. But what happens in all of my cases, and it has happened for several years, in fact, but I'm just not getting the aha behind the why and the rationale, the ideology, right? Behind why I never ever am given the opportunity to present in any court to adjudicate my cases, right? On the merit as a matter of law. Yeah, never get any findings of fact or conclusions of law, never being able to be before a neutral tribunal, get my grievances redressed as an inter party in fact. Yeah, just have things presented fairly, okay, with all transparency before objective eyes that have no allegiance to either side and genuinely want to look at the issue without bias and prejudice. They want to rule impartially, right? Now, I see why now, okay? Because a lot of times the defendants are actually state actors or the lawyers themselves in cahoots and collusion with these businesses and these entities and so on and so forth, that they're actually networking together behind the scenes and whatever patterns of corruptive misbehaving practices that ultimately now we see organized crime, public corruption, and just practices that ultimately equate to RICO crime schemes. Yeah, and it's fraud at the forefront, and it's federal funding, grant type fraudulent schemes and tactics and stuff like that. Now that we've done more research and we've delved a little bit more into what's going on, just really trying to figure out how the hell is this retaliation so severe? What have I done? I haven't done anything wrong, but try to advocate for myself, my son, just vulnerable populations in general, because as I advocate for myself or my family members, I'm advocating for the masses, for all populations that typically society might deem to be disadvantaged, less advantaged, vulnerable, in fact, okay? So, yeah, you need to know about all of this public because it's public interest and public policy, in fact, and especially for the sake of justice, right? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, but you have your Chief Algernon L. Marley of U.S. District Court of Ohio Southern District, Eastern Division, very upset at the fact that I presented to the court as a pro se sui juris. I can represent myself as pro se. Yeah. I'm in control of myself, sui juris. I'm not under anybody's control. I do not have to contract with the corporation. No, I don't. I don't have to get an attorney. No, I don't. Okay, even the most resistant defendant cannot be forced into getting an attorney. But Algernon Marbley wants to force me to get an attorney. But you have people who've murdered folks and done all this, and they stand up there and they defend themselves and they tell you, I'm not here to motherfucking play with y'all. He could defend himself, but I can't. I don't know. I don't get it. But every single case that I've ever filed, in this instant, in any of my cases, was an issue now of all my cases in pendency in this particular court, or any court ever in my life, has been found in good faith. I've never falsified anything. Nothing contains false statements or misrepresentations. Everything bona fide and meritorious. And everything actually does have cognizable legal basis in law. Now, years ago, if I would try to advocate for myself and things like that, I may not have known the jargon or the legalese and the appropriate way to go about doing things relative to the civil procedure of this and that and whatever. But I've learned over time. These harms to me have been going on for a very, very, very long time. Each and every eviction that I might have on my name is actually frivolous and unlawful. It's actually as a result of speaking up and speaking out about my tenant rights in places that are actually the condition dwellings are inhabitable, safe, and hazardous, in fact. And I've had to complain to governmental agencies, file complaints, and get code enforcement to come out and get code violations issued and all this, and the results always retaliatory. It's always severe. But I'll end up having an eviction on my name where it's actually at the end of the day, it's really not lawful. But if you don't know the correct processes and things like that, then you'll have it on your name and stuff like that. But nowhere on do I owe anybody any money at all, any kind of landlord or anything like that. I don't have those kinds of judgments or nothing like that on my name for money. But where the issue lies is when people file these evictions, it actually hinders your future housing opportunities and things like that. But really, all it is retaliation for me speaking up and speaking out and just saying, do what you said you want to do in your lease contractual agreement. Hold up your end of the bargain. All right. You have obligations as a landlord, this and that and the other. You can't discriminate, you can't retaliate. If I have a disability, you have to give accommodations, or you have to give good cause as to why you can't accommodate this type of thing. This particular instance, I actually have been injured on this particular property as well. Right. This particular landlord here charges housing association fees in my rent, but there's no housing association services. Okay, just stealing my money. Even now, I'm still here because they will literally try to kick me out on the street. And if I didn't know what I know and didn't fight the way that I did, I would be out on the street with my nonverbal 5-year-old grandchild when really I did nothing wrong. In this particular instance, there's a rent escrow case. I paid my rent into escrow. And this attorney, Alex Castle, he's a frivolous filer. He's a fictitious litigator. He files false statements and misrepresentations. He does it willfully and deliberately. He's in collusion with other state actors, judges, and judge magistrates and things like that of these courts and things like that. It's corruption. It's a pattern of practice for him. This isn't the first time he did it. Okay, he did it also in Franklin County Court of Common Pleas with Karen Phipps, 2-CP-0036020. Okay, what they do is they lie. They spin the narrative, tell half your webs of lies. Okay, then they find case law to support their version of the actual truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, which they won't ever put on a case record. But I have the whole truth in my material facts that are actually tried. They make sure I don't get notices. They make sure I can't be heard in court. They make sure that my cases are never adjudicated when they're married. That's a matter of law. They make sure there's no findings of fact conclusions of law. They make sure a neutral party, like a jury, can't look at everything objectively and make a fair decision. That's what they do. And they play around and utilize the court as their enterprise. They fuck around in these courts and stuff like that. But all along, I keep being severely harmed. And they'll delay cases on purpose. They won't answer motions. They'll just let them sit. They'll actually write for a decision. And then if I start calling them out on that, then they'll place a stay or something like that on the case to make sure it doesn't move forward. Or they'll ultimately just go ahead and rule a summary judgment that give that harsh and drastic decision, knowing that material tribal facts actually exist, and by no means would you ever find summary judgment. That's what Karen Phipps did, actually. into the CP 00360 Frank County. Please come up. So how that's what she did. You could say collusion with Alex Castle, covering up the fact that the city of Columbus, Tierra Ross, and the city itself, city council, they were applying for fucking housing grants and all this type of stuff, knowing there's no ordinance in place to protect tenants from severe landlord retaliation and things like that. So it's just a lot of lies. It's a lot of underlying fraud that really is. They don't want any of my cases to ever make it to public record, because then somebody might start probing a little further into see like, oh, okay, well, this is a severe landlord retaliation case, and she filed something with the city. And it's code violations, and the city itself had a nuisance claim against these same people. And then Tierra Ross was supposed to bring a retaliation case. She was holding on to it to bring that. And all these city employees knew: Todd Diller, Cassandra Skurlock, City Council Michael Brown, Zach Davidson, Christina Conrad, an inspector, like all these people, like it's over 29 public records of this severity of retaliation. And she's talking about the stalking. She has pictures of the stalker. She's crying out for help and all this. They almost blew up in their place. Columbia Gas had to come and shut the water heater off because it was being fed by a gas line. She talked about how Christopher Balatana had submitted fake frivolous claims, false claims to his insurance company, Amazon and Liberty Mutual, and everybody knows this, and they know that Michael Casone, the attorney for Christopher Balatana and all kind of property management, was his own personal property management, had sent her a letter and threatened her and told her if she could retract that true accurate report of insurance fraud of his client, he was going to go down to the County Municipal Court and file the appropriate paperwork that are set out on the motherfucking street when she had paid all her rent and there was no layover and there was absolutely nothing. He had already filed an unlawful eviction in the first fucking place. So, I mean, I just don't know. People would be looking into that. And people would start to get rounded up to go to jail because it's federal grant fund fraud, stuff like that. So that's really why I'm retaliating against. They're like, shut the fuck up, don't say nothing, don't say anything, can't put this in no court or nothing like that because it can't be found out. But now I have the epiphany. It's like, oh wow, I got it, right? Now, in all of my cases, I always say too that we can't continue to do this because it's still public interest and public policy. We have to let everybody in the public know what's really going on, right? Because we have to fix the judicial system. Yes, we do. But we have to understand and know that these people are at the forefront that you're voting for and electing that really truly are lying to you in your fucking face and stuff like that. Okay, they're not really wanting to advocate for humanity and what's right in vulnerable populations and so on and so forth. Not everybody. Not everybody. I'm not going to generalize it to where you believe that every state actor, judge, magistrate, or court employee or administrative staff or all of this is in collusion with these different businesses. Primarily they're businesses that are nonprofit or foundations, or somehow they're getting some type of funding, all right, that is meant to really help vulnerable populations, but really it's some other type of fraud scheme underlying. And what they'll do too is they'll make sure that they do some things for some people so it looks good on paper. They also will have some programs and things like that in place, like individualized therapeutic care plans, counseling services, case management, all of this, but really, it's not truly something that you're actually putting into play and following through with. If you really go in and do an actual audit, you'll be able to clearly see in the medical records and all of that, that's just not true. But see, these people didn't know who they were dealing with. I actually literally audit practitioner medical records for quality. Yeah, so I actually audit the medical fucking records and all that. I've been a nurse for quite a long time in every different arena, in fact. Yeah, and I can spot out lots of different corruptions and deviation from standards of care and clinical guidelines. Okay? And that's what they don't like, because they actually make a very good advocate for patients and vulnerable populations, in which that's what I signed up for when I became a nurse. And that is actually what the nursing board expects me to do, in fact. And if I don't do it, I could be held accountable to my nursing board and I'll lose my license. If I don't stand up for my patients, because that's my role and that's my fucking duty. Okay. And I ain't never gonna let nobody put my nursing license on the line. I learned that from the best fucking teachers at Mount Carmel College of Nursing. And no matter what it takes, these people can beat you down I don't care what your title is. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you think you are. You're not about to put me in a position where I harm a patient by no means and get on your coattail behind the bullshit that you're doing. Oh, hell no. And you out here in the public, you should want somebody like me. Because I'm telling you, maybe in a position like this one day, you, your children, and your children's children, you're gonna need somebody like me. I said before, some motherfuckers is putting shit in your medical record you don't know about. Or they're saying they're giving you services and shit, they're really not, but they're billing your provider. They damn sure billing Medicare. They bill my son's Medicare provider for counseling service, and he doesn't even know those exist. He's never, ever had any fucking counseling services ever in his fucking life. Okay, never in his life. And damn sure not with Southeast Mental Health at 16 West Long Street, Columbus, Ohio. Working 216 Wendy Way as Chief Operating Officer. Remember her? She disseminates people's personal health information. Yeah, she does facts. Okay, I have the proof of everything. So there's nothing any of these bitch ass motherfuckers can say. Pretty much. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know, but, Adam Board of Franklin County, Susan VILLILO, Wendy Williams, Chief Operating Officer, they wanted to get a cahoots and collusion to go file some fake frivolous complaints on me in the Ohio Court of, Appeals, no, Ohio Court of Common Pleas, Probate Court, Associated Seats, Russell Factory Zero. They both filed a complaint, acting like I don't uphold my duty to my son. My son, he has all his mental faculties. He's actually grown. He's a free man. He doesn't have any mandates or orders on him that says he needs to report to anybody, not a court, not a jail, not a probation officer, nothing. He doesn't have to, it's not mandated to take medications or anything like that. It's not mandated to go to any doctor's office. If he's not a kid, he can do his own activities of daily living. He should know activities of daily living. He doesn't need 24-hour care. I don't have to wash his butt or brush his teeth or comb his hair or anything like that, baby. He could do all of that, okay? He has a car, he got a girlfriend, he got friends, he rip and run up and down the street, does whatever the fuck he wants to do. It's just that he has a mental health diagnosis and he gets disabled, he is in a mental health vulnerable population. And people like Maureen Duffy and Jeffrey D. Mackey, seemingly without oath of office, they just want to treat him like a slave. And they have to track his locomotion. They're calling his family members, like my uncle was a physician in Atlanta, to find out exactly, specifically where his whereabouts are. But why would somebody be doing that? That's slavery, honey. If he's a free man, why would somebody be doing that? That's prison. Why are you imprisoning him? They're criminalizing somebody who just has a mental health diagnosis. And it's whistleblower retaliation is what it is. And Maureen Duffy, Jeffrey D. Mack, and Melissa Kaufman, Aaron Corbat, they got to go hoots and collusion with Wendy Williams and Susan VILLILO out of Franklin County in Southeast Mental Health to take me off the advocacy as a guardian for my son because I keep putting in more tasks about the standards of care that they continue to violate, not just my son, but for all mental health populations, right? And they don't like that. I'm telling the Department of Justice, Civil Rights, Arthur Salazar, Joseph Rangel, Elizabeth Wilson, Adam McGinsey, Linda Lozano, they don't like what I'm telling them. Because then it puts them on task and has them looked at for the HIPAA, high-tech data, privacy breach violations, for discrimination, retaliation, trying to revoke his access to healthcare, trying to call in the wrong medications that he's already been off for 8-9 fucking months that was causing him seizures, putting them on task. They don't like that. They called it harassment. They said like my advocacy is harassment. They actually have an attorney named Lisa Pierce Rios that told Franklin County or Common Pleas Probate Court, their Corbat or Melissa Kaufman, that I've been harassing some that I've always complained, you know, and causing problems. Well, every single complaint that I have is actually legitimate. And yeah, warranted. It's in good faith because these things need to change. Okay, their care there is not patient-centered. It's more controlling, but it's actually harming patients. It is vulnerable populations of mental health. And if you are dealing with mental health issues yourself, or you have a loved one that does, or anybody that you care about, you should know about this and you should be concerned. Okay? Because if someone gets hurt, suffers a catastrophic injury that might lead to a disability and or fatality, now you have the information awareness of that they were not practicing in an efficient and effective manner, and certainly not in any manner that could equate to quality whatsoever. And if they're participating in any type of program that's performance based and are getting any kickback because of performance metrics that they're playing with that they're meeting, like how NCQA might have, all that needs to be revoked from me. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're not acting in the best interest of these mental health populations. And I can tell you right now, you can send somebody over there and just randomly pull a few medical records. And they claim they have individualized therapeutic care plans. You can just pull them and they're all going to read the same. They're copy pasting and shit like that. They're not a bit more individualized. Jack smack shit. Okay. Their case management is not effective. It's not efficient. It doesn't equate to quality. It's bullshit. What people are doing is they're putting this shit, motherfuckers, records and shit like that just to meet the specifications of NCQA or whatever the quality oversight might be from the insurer side of things, right? But it's all lies. It's copy paste. It's just they're putting things in there to meet the metric. Even with the community linkages and the supportive types of education and resources that they should be providing these individuals, they provide them with something called like a street card, right? But lots of times you'll find that a lot of those resources, they're not even active anymore, or they'll print them out and they'll be like the last couple digits will be cut off, or whatever. They'll have like landlord lists or whatever, and then you'll see that these landlords aren't in business anymore. These landlords did not authorize the agencies and things like that to pass out their number. All this type of shit. Yeah, it's a lot of fraud, and even in some of these foundations and nonprofit programs with rental assistance and all this type of shit. I'm telling you now, they'll have phone scheduling services and all of this, but the phone scheduling services, they'll have the people over 2 or 3 fucking hours and click them off. Or we found out that the Impact Community Action Center was actually having people believe that they took intake for rental assistance and other types of help, maybe for electric or whatever people needed assistance with. They were having them believe that they took a certain amount of people every single day, but come to find out, actually they don't. It was only like the 15th of every month that they were, okay? And that is easily verifiable as well. It's a lot of fraud, it's a lot of bullshit, it's a lot of acting and playing, okay? It's a lot of waste. Any of these individuals that are hired to work at these places and great money is paying them salary, yeah, it needs to be an audit. All these places, okay? Yes. It's true. Yeah, I do audits, baby. I'm going to audit every single one of these individual places and businesses and shit like that. They need a quality improvement plan. ASAP. Okay? ASAP. All these motherfuckers need sanction. Okay? All right, and that's what they don't like. That I stand on business. Very matter of factly. Okay. But I am professional. I'm just a little bit aggressively professional, very matter of fact. Okay, there's no role for the bullshit and playing when it comes to patients and their lives. No, it's just not. Okay, and I don't give 2 fucks about it. And I'm pretty sure that the nursing board will stand behind in my decisions. I am not going to be in line with anybody. I don't care if the doctor, the nurse. I don't give a damn. I don't care for Jesus Christ. You're not about to sit up here and harm a patient. And I don't say shit about it. Okay? That's exactly what's going on. Like, you're not going to harm a patient. You're not going to harm an inmate. You're not going to harm a tenant. You're not going to harm any fucking body, period. Mental health, anybody that's in a vulnerable population out here in the community or whatever, you're not going to utilize their vulnerability for you to capitalize on, for you to harm them, or for you to get resources and fundings and things like that under this guise that you're going to help them, creating mission and vision statements and things like that to support what you know that the community and public wants to hear that you're doing, but you're really not following through. Okay? No. And if you're not, then if I find out, I'm gonna put you on task and then I'm going to tell you. Okay? And that's what they don't want. And that's why I'm being retaliated against. And I do that in every arena, even employment. That's why if I've ever been fired from a job, best believe it was because I spoke up and spoke out about some shit that they was fucking doing in here. 9 times out of 10, it's unethical, it's unprofessional, and it's illegal, where it can result in criminal actions against them, and they don't like them, and they don't want it out, so they get rid of me, stuff like that. Yeah, if I bring a court case or something like that, and they act in collusion with motherfuckers and lawyers and judges and all this type of stuff, and they make sure I don't get in the courts and I can never get my grievances redressed, and they take all my rights away and they keep me enslaved, and I can never speak up and speak out about nothing. And these one motherfuckers just came along, stole all my money and all this. Now, Alex Castle was in a case prior where Christian plotted it off and portfolio 2951 having a place when it was going off with 068. Actually stole my money too. They stole my security deposit. They didn't have a case where it calls action against me. And they admitted that before James Judge Green, before who at that lower tier court, he dismissed 217G020-711 without prejudice. He told me to go file over common pleas because my career amount exceeded what the Franklin County Municipal Court could handle by way of whatever jurisdictional limits that they had. And so I did. Karen Phipps was over there to 2CB00362. Alex Castle was on that case because they made sure they took Michael Casson off because it had already came out that at the lower tier case that all kind of portfolio is his actual personal real estate, and he put a 5-star review on the page just telling other owners, because the first person he's an owner, he recommended all owners utilize that particular entity as a property manager because Rob ran us how he should, is what he said. But really, Rob runs a piece of motherfucking shit, okay? Pretty much. She shared shackle bullshit, okay? So go and get on the medical public records if you want to. 2951 Havertz Place, Williamsburg, Ohio, 13068 with the city of Columbus or 11.gov. I gotta do is send them an email, ask them for the public records. They will email it to you. It's over 29 of them. And it's very detailed of all the hazardous and habitable conditions, everything that's going on about the stalking. You can go look at that particular case if you want to. You can look at the exhibits that are on there. You can look at everything. The case pretty much speaks for itself to where anybody that actually wants to look at it can see that material facts, or the details, actually did exist. And that case really should have been, it should have went to trial. I should have been able to be before a jury and get my grievances redressed and have some type of relief or remedy. And I wasn't even able to do that. I didn't even get back my security deposit. They robbed me. They stole from me. Alex Castle was looking at that. Now you see Alex Castle again over here. He's an attorney for Blueprint Investment. He's just not with the so long, he's with Perfect Law. You also see Alex Castle, Franklin County Municipal Court. Okay, the Rent Escrow Program 2024 CVR 009565. He filed a frivolous eviction saying non-payment rent, knowing the money was actually rent escrow. That was 2024 CVG 012030. Then when that didn't work, he filed another frivolous eviction. He's in cahoots and collusion with the eviction department from supports. So he made them assign another case number, start a whole new case, knowing that we really literally have rent escrow and all of this over here. And so then they put 2 frivolous evictions on my name underneath the same escrow program. It's deliberate. And there's state actors on board with him. He got in collusion with Michael Albright, Jared Skinner, James Green, Jody Thomas, and every single judge over there in the Franklin County Municipal Court, except for Stephanie Mingo. Because Stephanie Mingo, she's an environmental judge. There wouldn't be any reason for her to know what was going on because she wouldn't be able to intervene. I had to take extreme measures and outreach all the judges and tell them what was going on because they were coming by the house, stalking me, invading my privacy, all of this type of stuff. And my granddaughter is disabled. She's non-verbal. She gets triggered and things like that, screams and hollers with these folks just popping up and doing all this type of stuff. My life is at risk. It still is actually. People are still coming by here. I have them all on surveillance, so, and I am armed. So, and if somebody can come and try it if they want to. I don't live here alone, and we all are armed. So, won't live here. You won't leave here alive. I'm telling you that now. But I'm also letting anybody in the public know that my life is at risk, and I do intend to stand my ground and defend myself. Anybody comes here. We have several guns. Yeah. Pretty much. Some pretty good ones too. But yeah. I don't know, but it's pretty routine that these individuals like to invade my privacy and seclusion and that of my family and all my family members and ask about whereabouts and track them on promotion and things like that. And I think it's very sick. It's very sick. And to have people in power, like judges or judge magistrates that are able to do that and not be held accountable by hiding behind the shield of immunity is really, really scary. So if any of these people come and kill me, then what? Then what? There's nothing you can do because they have immunity. I said a million times that they're stalking them. These are judges and judge magistrates and other court employees. Stalking my family. It's in every single case record and all of that. They're trying to probably kill me or cause me to have some catastrophic injury leading to a disability or fatality in me or all my family members or something like that on purpose because they don't want this shit to come out. When I'm not deliberately filing things in here to expose them, I just end up exposing a lot of shit. Advocacy for myself and my son and stuff like that, trying to get my own fucking grievances redressed. I haven't done anything wrong. First of all, I have a right to be here at this place. This is Clark Person Blueprint Investments, Aaron McDaniel. I got a right to be here. I have a legally binding lease contract. Okay, at least there was one as far as the actual year lease when I filed the rent escrow. I already had a case before rent escrow against Aaron McDaniel anyway. Okay, for discrimination, retaliation, all of that over in Franklin County Court of Common Pleas 22CB000. Let's see, 22CB001652. I think it was. And the plaintiff in that, Aaron McDaniel never did even answer that particular case. And it's past the time for him to answer. That's a hands down win summary judgment, right? He never did even answer it. But I removed that case along with the Franklin County Municipal Court cases 2024 CBG 012030 and 024 CBG 015962, the two frivolous evictions that Alex Castle filed on my name. I removed them from that municipal court up here to this U.S. District Court on federal question. These are questions of constitutionality that's in this particular case. And it's whistleblower retaliation. It's actually RICO. That's why this fucking case is here. It's RICO. Okay, that's number one. But it also has to do with fair housing. And it also has to do with the American Disability Act and things like that. Okay, but it's about the U.S. constitutional rights, deprivation of rights under the law at all. It's about the RICO crimes that are actually taking place. We can literally see the Alex Castle, the common denominator, and all of this. Okay, yeah, and he's always in cahoots collusion with other attorneys. So he was cahooting with Michael Persone, and then in that particular case, I told you about where he did it before. That was with Karen Fitz, Franklin County Court of Common Pleas, 22CB003620, frivolous evictions, all this type of shit. You can see it at every court level. Then here he is again. Now he's over with Griffith Law and Charles Griffin. He's doing the same shit, filing frivolous things and retaliating and lying and filing, all this bullshit. And of course, running up judicial costs, fucking around and really putting people's lives at risk and all this. And it's actually true. I have all the proof. But he's trying to keep me out. Alton Marvin called me vexatious in this particular case. Yeah. He deemed me a vexatious litigator here, but he can't prove that. He did that to sponte after he's got this qualification on his fucking name. He's letting all this shit sit. Okay? He's not answering he's not going in and making any ruling on any objection and with the findings of fact and conclusions of law. He's not doing shit. He's not allowing my cases and shit like that to proceed. Okay. Yeah. Somebody needs to get in his ass. Okay. He needs to get the fuck off of this shit. If you don't have no oath, he's not an Article 3 judge and he needs to be fired. He literally does. He better not rule on anything of mine. I mean that. And he's strong arming. He's a narcissist. Okay. He's a narcissist and he's a bully. He's a tyrant, authoritarian. He's a dictator. He's a whole fucking piece of shit. Yeah. And he's a bitch. He's biased. He's prejudiced. Yeah, he is. And it's obvious. Okay. So he put that shit on my name. I didn't have an opportunity to respond to it. He's an accuser. That's a complaint that he has against me. He wants to call me that. He has to prove that. He got the burden of proof to prove me fictitious. And he can't. Somebody that's fictitious is a liar. They're filing false shit and all that in the courts, and it doesn't have any merit. It's not bona fide, and it can't, you can't even see any type of cognizable legal basis to any fucking thing that somebody's saying that does that. Okay? I don't do that, but Alex Castle does. And I can prove that. I can accuse him, and he can come and he can confront me, and he can cross-examine me, and I can hit him right back with the fucking proof. But none of these bitch ass motherfuckers that want to keep calling me fictitious can prove what they say. No, they can't. Alex Castle can't even come over here to this fucking court, this U.S. District Court, and put an answer into my fucking complaint. But he can come over here and suddenly appear, okay, and ask for a fucking motion to strike. Bitch, we're not about to strike shit, okay? You sat up here, you want to call me fictitious, or you pretty much saying that I'm filing frivolous shit. You went over there to the fucking Court of Appeals, Ohio Court of Appeals, and you're telling them that you want attorney's fees because of the frivolous shit that I'm fucking filing. You can't prove that, okay? Because it's not true. Okay, number one. We had Spitzley Law Firm do the same shit. They just went over to the appeals court in 23 AP 670 and 23 AP 671. Okay, and mentioned that over here in this particular U.S. District Court of Ohio, that Algernon Barber deemed me to be fictitious. So then in sua sponte, so they go over to the appeals court, 10th district in Ohio, and ask them, so can they also deem me fictitious? And they denied that fucking motion. But also Spitz Law Firm, Brian Spitz, Trisha Breedlove, Gray Schumacher, they are in 223 CV 04208 over here. They too have not put a fucking answer on this to my fucking complaint to them. But yet they're watching the cases. Well, of course, they know that it exists because I have to give them a certificate of service on everything that I send. So they know I filed a cause of action against them. They haven't put a motion to dismiss with an affidavit on this bitch, affidavit of truth on this motherfucker. They haven't done that. They haven't put an answer, a contra, opposition, not jack smack shit. You know why? You know why? Because it's a RICO case. All of it's RICO. And if they actually put an answer in, okay, it's under penalty of perjury. Okay, so what they would do is if they're actually answering it, they would incriminate themselves. Number one, because it's actual RICO crimes. Spitz Law Firm, Brian Spitz, Richard Greenlow, Greg Schumacher stole $15,028 from me. They really did, and they tried to cover it up in their tax fraud scheme. I have a CVS Health Pharmacy Inc., some unknown entity come along and pay them all my money directly because they pretended to have a direct business relationship with them. They pretended that they were their corporate fucking vendor, as if they had given them some direct services or something like that. And they didn't. Okay. CVS Health Pharmacy Inc. has never been an employer of mine, never been named in any type of cause of action, any type of charge, and none, they weren't in my EDLC charge. They weren't in my hospital arrest commission charges. It's two of them. There wasn't in my OSHA whistleblower retaliation charge either. It wasn't in Jack Smack shit. They weren't my employee. And anybody with any good fucking sense knows that when there is a settlement, the settlement is paid out of liability insurance. So you'll get a check for your wages. That's paid just as if you were working there and it will have the taxes and everything taken out. Then you get a secondary check for the pain and suffering and all that. That's paid out of liability insurance. And I already received a liability insurance check from Edda Resources LLC's liability insurance, minus the $15,028 that Swiss law firm Brian Spitz, Richard Breedlove, Schumacher stole from it. They misappropriated it. They seized it. They gained control over it. Yeah, they did. It got its collusion with Alex Frondo for Howard attorney, Richard Diageo, New York, New Jersey attorney, living in Madison, PC. Karen Gaster as well with Aetna. She's an attorney as well. They all had a good in collusion. Bonnie Kirsten, she knows about it. Michael Holberg, 22CV00 8936. All these people, they just stay active. Those include, they all know that the crime took place. They all know some money conspiracy to commit grand theft and from the conversion of my property. Absolutely. Spitz Law Firm is just a mere creditor asserting an indebtedness. They don't have any work whatsoever. They cannot show you an invoice. They cannot show you any actual work whatsoever where they should get paid $50,028. They shouldn't get paid 1 red cent because they haven't done anything. And Trisha Breedlove says she was negotiating some type of settlement. Yeah, there's no settlement that exists. There's absolutely nothing that exists that they contributed to at all. Nope. So they were fired when I went into negotiations with the EEOC for myself. They were already fired. So what they would have, then they don't have a lien. They don't have an attorney. They aren't charging an attachment bond on any type of future settlement or anything like that. So this law firm has no fronted costs. My case was in this particular court 2:22 CV 02519. In that particular case, I do everything pro se. There's no cost associated with it. Why? Because I filed indigent. So it's no fronted costs, it's no costs, it's no fees. If you have a contingency case, that's mainly what it's based on. The fronted costs and then their labor and all of that they would give for their time and their research, you know, the evidentiary work or pre-litigation research and so on and so forth, motions, briefs, you know, deposition, interviewing or whatever. But Spitz Law Firm doesn't have any of that. And they already told Richard Diageo of the see that they didn't have it. And Richard Diageo sent me an email and told me that they already knew they couldn't get their fees because they didn't have it. Okay. So everybody knows I'm the rightful owner of my $15,028. Yeah, everybody knows what transpired. Everybody knows that Richard Diageo is the true culprit and the cause of why they decided to use me as a scapegoat and file a fake frivolous interpleader in the court of common pleas 226-007-866 and 22-CB7M. That's the fake frivolous interpleader by attorney Alex Ronda. Then I sued Spitz and Crossland 22-CB008947. And then I sued Aetna again. 22-CB008936. Chris Brown's a lazy fucking judge. He ignored everything for a whole year from November 9th of 2022 all the way to October 27th of 2023. And he even ignored a motion. Aetna did put a motion in to put my money in for escrow, but they never safeguarded my funds. Yeah, so in a true interpleader, you would take the amount that's in question and you would safeguard it. It has to be in a trust, IOLTA, something with a fiduciary title. It has to be kept separate, but the tortfeasor themselves kept the money in hand the entire time. You can't file an interpleader against someone that you have liability to, and you have ownership and interest in the security anyways. But they did it anyways because they didn't know that I knew that. They're just trying to get away with the bullshit, right? Yeah, it's a scheme, but you know they didn't get. They got away with it though, because they still have my money and they're not being held accountable. But they didn't really get away with it, did they? So, and this is what they didn't want to cover. But that's why I come to the public and I tell the public because they won't allow me to have a jury trial. They won't let me, have these harms stopped, and so I can move on with my fucking life and shit like that. So you have to be my jury. I'm good on YouTube. I'm already on TikTok. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. And every single day that I live, I'm going to keep talking about it to every one of these people that keep harming me and my family get arrested. They all need to be in prison. These are all RICO crimes. I have 9 cases in the U.S. District Court of Ohio, Southern Division, District, Eastern Division. Every one of them but one is RICO. Okay? And RICO can be heard in this fucking court. I'm in the right court. Now, Alex Castle's he's asking them to strike something off the that I put in and remand it back to state court. No, bitch, I could be here. It's federal court. Federal court want to hear this. Where's your answer? Where's your answer, Alex Castle? What the fuck is your answer? Okay? Where's your answer? I leave no room for any rebuttal, for any refute. I've learned that over the years. I've perfected it now. And I can see fraud in everything. And that's what this is. And they haven't said shit yet. I have a million more fucking cases in RICO. They keep on fucking around and people stop content on everybody file under camera too. But there's really no need to file under camera content because the federal government already knows. Yes, they do. They already know. The IRS knows. ICE whistleblower division, and the FBI truly genuinely does know. They just don't send you a letter like the IRS does. Okay? So anybody that was involved and anybody that had awareness along the way and they thought they got off scot-free, they never told anybody, they never spoke up, they never reported. Does anybody have to mandatory report crimes that they have the awareness of? I think so. And if you don't, you're a co-conspirator, you're accomplice, you're aiding and abetting. So all these motherfuckers have done me harm. All this shit is RICO crimes, every single one of my cases except one. Nobody told the U.S. prosecutor's office yet. Nobody told the Southern District prosecuting attorney about all these Ohio attorneys and stuff like that that's out here robbing and stealing and submitting fake false say like claims and stuff to Medicare, Medicaid. Ohio attorney fraud investigator Neve Davis already said she knows about the fraud. She got the house. False claims and stuff like that, billing my son's insurance for shit he ain't done. Why aren't those people arrested yet? Huh? What's up? Yeah, I don't know. But I know that Brian's Pistons will give me my motherfucking money back. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, and I also do know that these higher courts can take it upon themselves, sua sponte, and issue.
Okay, this is what she said. She said,
Okay, I'll be back in a minute.
showing up.